Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy C. Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about polio and its prevention. Let us first understand what is the current affair. According to the experts, the oral polio vaccines, which is known as the OPV, contain live polio viruses that are shed by vaccinated children in their stool. It means that when oral polio vaccine, that is in the form of polio drops that is given to the children, this OPV contains live polio viruses, and these viruses are released by the children who take the OPV through their stools. And because of this reason, the government and the regulatory authorities are worried that if type 2 virus passes into the sewage or the water system, and this can lead to a spread in the polio. And this type 2 strains were detected in Hyderabad, Delhi, Bihar and Gujarat. These are more evident in places where there is more open defecation. So we will discuss about this issue in detail. Let us also understand this issue, the prevention methods, etc. First, let us see India's status in this regard. India was officially declared polio free by WHO, World Health Organization, in March 2014, and the last case of polio virus of type 2 was detected in the country in the year 1999. So, India attained a polio free status in 2014 and it has eliminated P1 and P3 strains. So, already in 1991, type 2 was eradicated, P1 and P3 were eradicated later on, and India got a polio free status in 2014. Now, what is polio? It is a highly infectious viral disease and it mainly affects children. And according to the WHO, World Health Organization, the virus is transmitted from one person to another mainly through fecal-oral route. It invades the nervous system, it can cause paralysis, it is characterized by sudden muscle weakness and pain in the limbs. There are three types of polioviral strains, P1, P2 and P3. P2 was eradicated globally in 1999. And India attained a polio-free status in 2014, as we have discussed, after eliminating P1 and P3. So, in 1999, P2 was eradicated. Later on, P1 and P3 were also eradicated from the country. And by 2014, India attained the status of polio-free country. Now, let us understand what is VDPV, which was recently in the news. It is vaccine-derived polio virus. So, what is meant by vaccine-derived polio virus? Here, under the vaccine-derived polio virus, the source of the virus is the vaccine itself. As we have discussed in the beginning, as we discussed the current affair, we have seen that India provides OPV or the oral polio vaccine. So, oral polio vaccine means the polio drops are given to the child, and under the OPV it contains a live polio virus. So the source of the virus is the vaccine itself. So the virus is spread through the vaccine, and when a child is vaccinated or when the child is given the polio drops or the OPV, the weakened vaccine virus replicates in the intestine and enters into the bloodstream, and this will trigger a protective immune response in the child. So later on what happens, the child excretes the vaccine virus for a period of 6 to 8 weeks. So after the OPV is given to a child, the child can excrete or pass the virus in his or her stools. And this will be for a period of 6 to 8 weeks. And during excretion, the virus can get genetically altered. It means that when the child excretes this virus, it may not be the original vaccine virus, but it can be a genetically altered vaccine virus. And in case of inadequate sanitation like open defecation, the excreted vaccine virus can quickly spread in the community and infect the children with low immunity. If the excretion or defecation is done in open, there are more chances that the virus gets spread. Now let us understand what is VAPP or vaccine associated paralytic poliomyelitis. It is said that the VAPP occurs when the polio virus turns virulent within the body of a recently vaccinated child and causes polio. So if a recently vaccinated child is affected due to polio, and this polio is caused by the same virus with which the vaccination was done. It is known as VAPP. And it is estimated that the VAPP occurs 1 in 2.7 million children. And this is among the children who receive their first dose of OPV or the oral polio vaccine. The number is very less. It is 1 in 2.7 million. And what is the reason? The high income countries have switched to IPV. IPV is inactivated polio vaccine. So under IPV or the inactivated polio vaccine, a dead virus is used to immunize the children. But what is the problem with IPV? It is more costly than the OPV. So the high income countries have switched to IPV because they can afford it. But in case of low income countries, they are at the risk of vaccine associated paralytic poliomyelitis. The reason is that the low income countries cannot afford IPV. In case of India, it is not only that India is a middle income country, but also the vast population of the country is also a challenge in implementing the IPV completely. Now let us understand what is the basic difference between IPV and OPV. IPV is given through an injection and it contains inactivated virus. That means the virus is dead. So a dead virus is used and it is given through an injection, and it is considered to be safer than the OPV, and OPV contains a live virus. That means the virus is alive. The WHO or World Health Organization has been advocating IPV over the OPV. India has introduced IPV in the mandatory immunization program on 1st December in 6 states in the country. For the time being, IPV will be given in addition to existing OPV. And OPV is advocated for countries like India because there is a lower cost associated with the OPV and higher efficiency. There is ease of administration, etc. Now let us see what are the challenges associated with OPV in India. The World Health Organization or the WHO has asked all the countries which use OPV in order to conduct a continuous and effective system of surveillance, and this was to monitor the frequency of VAPP in 1982. But India did not comply to it. Even though knowing the burden of the polio caused by oral vaccines, India continued to use the OPV. The reason was that it is easier to administer, and also the cost per dose of OPV is much lower than that of the IPV. But OPV has challenges of safety and efficacy. The high income countries, they prefer to use the IPV, but low income countries and middle income countries like India, they rely on OPV. We have seen another reason for India to rely on OPV is the population in the country. And in 2006, India licensed the IPV, but even though licensed, it was not introduced in the routine immunization. Now what are the solutions? The VAPP cases can be avoided if the government stops the OPV to immunize children. That means India should shift from OPV to IPV. IPV is essential for post-wild type poliovirus eradication, and also a continuous and effective system of surveillance is required in India. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries related to your UPSC preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page. I wish you all a very good day. Thank you.